Shopping has become much easier these days. One of the most significant changes is online shopping. It has become very common for people to buy food on the internet as well. In the past, people went to actual stores to buy groceries, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many people get groceries online these days. It has become the norm and it is all the rage these days. Online shopping is very convenient because there is no need to go to actual stores. All you have to do is to pick and choose items on your phone. You can pay very easily and the goods are delivered to your home. It takes much less time and effort. Also, there are a lot of options to choose from, so you can get great deals. In fact, online stores sell everything from vegetables and fruits to meat and seafood. Once again, food shopping has become a lot easier than in the past. Shopping has become much easier these days. One of the most significant changes is online shopping. It has become very common for people to buy food on the internet as well. In the past, people went to actual stores to buy groceries, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many people get groceries online these days. It has become the norm and it is all the rage these days. Online shopping is very convenient because there is no need to go to actual stores. All you have to do is to pick and choose items on your phone. You can pay very easily and the goods are delivered to your home. It takes much less time and effort. Also, there are a lot of options to choose from, so you can get great deals. In fact, online stores sell everything from vegetables and fruits to meat and seafood. Once again, food shopping has become a lot easier than in the past.
Food shopping has become a lot easier than in the past. People listen to music.
People listen to music on their cell phones or computers. These devices are always connected to the internet. So, people use streaming sites to listen to music these days. These streaming services are very convenient. People pay a monthly subscription fee, and they can get unlimited access to all the songs. The best thing about streaming sites is that people can make their own playlists. These services recommend similar songs on their playlist. People can also see the lyrics on the screen. They can also listen to the same song over and over again. Plus, the sound quality has become much better than in the past. Meanwhile, cell phones and computers have Bluetooth functions, so people can connect them to various types of Bluetooth devices. In fact, Bluetooth earphones have become the norm. They are convenient because you do not have to plug them in. There are no wires, so they do not get tangled up. Once again, the latest trend in music is streaming services and Bluetooth device. People listen to music on their cell phones or computers. These devices are always connected to the internet. So, people use streaming sites to listen to music these days. These streaming services are very convenient. People pay a monthly subscription fee, and they can get unlimited access to all the songs. The best thing about streaming sites is that people can make their own playlists. These services recommend similar songs on their playlist. People can also see the lyrics on the screen. They can also listen to the same song over and over again. Plus, the sound quality has become much better than in the past. Meanwhile, cell phones and computers have Bluetooth functions, so people can connect them to various types of Bluetooth devices. In fact, Bluetooth earphones have become the norm. They are convenient because you do not have to plug them in. There are no wires, so they do not get tangled up. Once again, the latest trend in music is streaming services and Bluetooth device.
Latest trend in music is streaming service and Bluetooth service. Listen to music on their cell phones or computers. These devices are always connected to the internet, so people use streaming sites to listen to music these days. The streaming site services are very convenient. People
pay a monthly subscription fee, and they can get unlimited access to all the songs.
And they can
the
get
best thing about
unlimited
streaming sites is that
access
people
to
can make their own
the songs.
playlists. People pay a monthly subscription fee,
so-
and they can get
and they
unlimited
can get
access to
unlimited
all the songs.
access to all
The
the
best thing
songs.
about streaming sites
To get they can get unlimited access to get unlimited access to all the songs.
people pay a monthly subscription fee, and they
subscription
can get unlimited
get
access to all the
unlimited
songs.
access to all the
The best
songs.
thing People pay a monthly
monthly
subscription
subscription
fee,
fee.
and they can get unlimited
Get
access to all the
unlimited
songs.
access.
The best thing about streaming
Get an
people pay a monthly subscription fee, and they can get unlimited access to all the songs.
all the songs.
The best thing about streaming
Access to
sites,
all the songs.
people pay a monthly subscription fee,
They
and
can
they can get
unlimited
unlimited access
access
to all the songs. The
The
best
best
thing
things
about
about the
streaming
streaming
sites is that
sites is
people
that
can make
people-
their own playlists. These
The best thing
the best thing
about
about streaming
streaming
sites
sites
is
is
that people
that
can make their own
is that
playlists. These
streaming
services
site is
recommend
that people
similar
can
songs on that
make their
playlist. The best
the
The
best
best
thing
thing about
about
streaming
streaming
sites
sites
is
is
that
that
people
people
can
can
make
make
their
their
own
own
these
playlist.
services the best thing about streaming sites is that people can make their own playlists. These services recommend similar songs on that playlist. The best thing
The best thing
The
about
best thing
streaming
about streaming
sites is that people
can
can make their own
playlists.
playlist.
These
These
services
services
recommend similar
recommend
songs on
similar
that
songs on
playlist.
their playlist.
People can also see
You
the
can
lyrics
also
on the
see the
screen.
lyrics on the
They
screen.
can also listen to
Also
the
listen to the
same
same
song
song
over and again.
over again.
Plus, the
Plus,
sound
the
quality has become much better than in the
better
past.
than in the past.
Meanwhile, cell
Meanwhile,
phones
cell
and
phones and
computers have
computers
Bluetooth
have big
functions,
Bluetooth functions.
so people can
People
connect
can
them to
they
various
can to
types of
various types of
Bluetooth
Bluetooth
devices.
devices.
In fact, Bluetooth earphones have become the
Earphones
norm.
have become the
They
norm.
are convenient
They're
because you do
convenient
not
because
have
they
to
do
plug
not
them
have to
in.
plug them in.
There are no
There are
wires,
no
so they do
wires,
not
so they
get
do not
tangled
get
up.
tangled up.
Once again,
Once
the
again,
latest trend in music is streaming services
latest
and
trend
Bluetooth
is-
devices.
The latest trend is in music.
Once again, the latest trend in music is streaming services and Bluetooth
Music
devices.
is streaming services and Bluetooth devices.
Once again, the latest trend in music is streaming services and Bluetooth devices.
Bluetooth devices. Streaming services and Bluetooth devices. Once again, the latest trend in music. The latest trend in music is streaming services and Bluetooth devices.
Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022. That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain. We called it the fifth wave of infections. Daily case numbers once were well over 400,000. The main reason for the recent spike was, once again, the Omicron variant and its subvariants. There were also a lot of breakthrough infections. People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well. As of today, the total number of cases in Korea is roughly at 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population. At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place. People had to check in with a QR code when they visited public facilities. This was to help contact tracing efforts. They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places. However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. And then the pandemic entered into an endemic phase. Now, people are also using self-test
kits.
Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022. That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain. We called it the fifth wave of infections. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. The main reason for the recent spike was, once again, the Omicron variant and its subvariants. There were also a lot of breakthrough infections. People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well. As of today, the total number of cases in Korea is roughly at 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population. At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place. People had to check in with a QR code when they visited public facilities. This was to help contact tracing efforts.
This was
They
to
also
help
had to
contact
present their
tracing
vaccine
effort.
passes to enter
They
various
also had to
places.
present their
However,
vaccine
new
passes
case
to
numbers skyrocketed
enter
and many
places.
COVID-19 prevention policies became
Many
useless.
COVID-19
And
prevention
then the
policies
pandemic
may
entered into an endemic
become
phase.
useless, and the pandemic entered into an endemic phase. Korea saw huge surge in number of new COVID-19 cases in early 22.
Korea saw a
So
huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
Omicron variants
the fifth wave
became
of
the
infections.
dominant
Daily case numbers once
strain.
went well over
Strain. Dominant
That's when
strain.
the Omicron variant
That's when the
became the
Omicron
dominant
variant
strain.
became
We
the
called it the
strain. Dominant strain.
That's when the
That's when
Omicron
the
variants
Omicron
became the
variants
dominant
became
strain.
the dominant
We called it the
strain.
fifth wave of infection.
We
called
called
it the
it
fifth wave of infections.
We called it the
Daily
fifth
case
wave
numbers
of
once went
infection.
well over
Daily
400,000.
case number
The main reason for the recent spike
numbers
was once
once
again
went
the
over
Omicron variant
went
and its
over
subvariants.
went well over
There were also a lot of
400,000.
We called it the
We
fifth
called
wave
it
of
the fifth wave
infections.
of infection.
Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000.
Daily case numbers
The main
once
reason for the
went
recent
over.
spike was we called it
We
the fifth
called-
wave of
We called
infections.
it
Daily
called
case
it the
numbers
fifth
once went
wave
well
of
over
infection.
400,000.
Numbers
The main
once
reason for
went
the recent
over
spike was once
400,000.
again we called it the fifth wave of infections. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. The main reason for the recent spike was we called it the fifth wave of infections. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. The main reason for
went well over 400,000.
we called it the fifth wave of infections. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. The main reason for the recent spike was
400,000.
The main reason
The
for the
main
recent
reason
spike
for
was
recent
once
spike
again
was
the
once
Omicron
again the
variant and
Omicron
its
variant.
subvariants.
Omicron
There were also a
variant
lot of
and
breakthrough
its
infections.
subvariants.
The main reason for the
Main
recent
reason for
spike was
recent
once
spike
again
was
the
once again
Omicron variant and
Omicron
its
variants and
subvariants.
its
There were
subvariants.
also a lot of breakthrough infections.
Breakthrough
People who had been
infection.
fully there
There
were also
were
a lot of
also a lot
breakthrough
of breakthrough
infections.
infection. People who
Had
had
been
been
fully
fully
vaccinated got infected as well.
got
As
infected.
of today,
got
the total
infected-
number of cases
got
in Korea
infected
is
as
roughly
well.
people who
People
had been fully
who had been
vaccinated
fully
got
vaccinated
infected as
got
well.
infected
As
as
of
well.
today,
As
the
of
total
today,
number of
total
cases in
number of
Korea
cases
is
in
roughly
Korea
at
is
18
roughly
million,
at
which is almost 40% of the
18
entire
million,
population.
which is
At
almost
the
a
beginning of the latest surge,
40%
many
of
restrictions were put in place.
entire
People
population.
had to
At the
At the
beginning of
beginning of
the
the latest surge,
latest
many
surge,
restrictions
many
were put in
restrictions were
place.
put in place.
People had to
People
check in
had
with
to
a
check
QR
in with
code when
check
they
in with
visited
the
public
QR code
facilities.
when they
This
visit
was to
public
help contact
facilities.
trace.
At the beginning of the
latest surge,
At the beginning of the latest surge,
many
many
restrictions were
restrictions
put in
were put in
place.
place.
People had to
People
check in with a QR code when they visited
when
public
they visited
facilities.
public
This was to help
This
this
was
was to help
help
contact tracing efforts.
tracing effort.
They also had
They
to
also
present
had to
their vaccine passes to enter various
their
places.
vaccine
However,
passes.
this was to help
This-
contact tracing efforts.
Tracing.
They also
They
had
also
to present
had
their
to
vaccine passes to enter
present-
various places.
Present their vaccine
However,
passes
new case
to
numbers
enter various
skyrocketed and many
places.
COVID.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention. However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. And then
Skyrocketing. New case numbers skyrocketing. Many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
however, new case
New
numbers
case numbers
skyrocketed and many
skyrocketing and many
COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. And then the pandemic entered into an endemic phase.
Endemic phase. Now,
Now,
people are also using self-test kits at home
if they are
to
infected.
see if
The
they
test
are
results normally
infected.
come out right away on the spot.
Normally come
Even
out
if people
right
do
away
test
on the
positive,
spot.
they do not have to
Do not
self-quarantine
have to
anymore.
be. They
For
do not
sure,
have to
we are now
self
getting
quarantine
ready for the
anymore.
next phase of the
We're
pandemic,
getting ready
which is
for the
living with
next phase of the pandemic, which is
COVID-19.
living with
Also, social
COVID-19.
distancing measures have been
Distancing
lifted.
measures have
Also,
been lifted.
restrictions on large
All
gatherings
large
and
gatherings
business
and
hours
business
have been
hours
dropped
have been
completely.
dropped
Mask mandates have
completely.
been lifted as well.
Mandatory have been lifted as
Overall,
well.
everything is now returning to normal. I am
the
relieved that
normal.
we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
The number of the
However,
tunnel.
there may be some bumps along the way,
There
so
may
we
be
have to
some
stay
bumps
vigilant.
Bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
Now,
Now
people are
people
also
are also
using
using
self-test
self-test
kits at home if they are
to
infected.
see
The
to
test
see if
results
they are
normally come out right away on
infected.
the spot. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. For Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the
if they are
spot.
infected.
Even
If
if
they
people
are
do
infected.
test positive, they do not have. Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. For sure. Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. For sure. We are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19. All social distancing measures have been lifted. Also, restrictions on large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely. Mask mandates have been lifted as well. Overall, everything is now returning to normal. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. However, there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel. However, there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the spot.
If they are
Even if people
infected.
do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore.
Now, people are also using
self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
also using
Now,
self-test
people are also
kits.
using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out. Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Even if people do test positive, they. Now, people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Even if people do test. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Even if people do test positive.
Even if people do test
Even if
positive,
people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic.
Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore.
Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase.
For sure, we are now getting
ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19.
For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic. We are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19. All social distancing measures have been lifted. All social distancing measures have been lifted.
All social distancing measures have been lifted. Also, restrictions on large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely. Mask mandates
have been dropped completely. All restrictions on large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely.
All social distancing measures have been lifted. Also, restrictions on large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely. Mask mandates have been lifted as well. Overall, everything is now returning to normal. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. However, there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
This distancing measures have been lifted, and also this restriction on large gathering and business hour have been dropped. Restriction dropped completely, have been lifted and dropped completely. All social distancing measures have been lifted.
Also,
Also,
restrictions on large
on large
gatherings
gatherings
and
and
business
business
hours
hours
have been
have been
dropped
dropped
completely.
completely.
Mask mandates have been lifted as well.
Overall,
everything is now returning to
normal.
I am relieved.
Overall, everything is now returning to normal. I am relieved.
I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light.
I relieved that
we are
we
finally
are
seeing the light at the
seeing
end of the tunnel. However,
light
there
at
may
the
be some bumps along
light
the way,
at the end
so
of
we
the
have to
tunnel.
stay.
I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
However, there may be some bumps
along the
so we
way.
have to stay vigilant.
Stay
I am
vigilant.
relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. However, there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant. I'm relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. However, there may be some bumps along the way. So we have to stay vigilant.
I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. However, there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
Well, one of the
biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. These days, it is not safe to go on trips due to the coronavirus. You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You could get infected with
COVID-19.
The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible.
And new variants
Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of
300
today.
million
The
confirmed
global
cases
death toll
worldwide
went
as of
over
today.
5 million, and it is still rising.
And it's still rising.
Well, one of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. These days, it is not safe to go on trips due to the coronavirus. You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You could get infected with COVID-19. The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible. Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today. The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still rising.
Global death toll went over 5 million and is still rising.
Well, one of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. These days, it is not safe to go on trips due to the coronavirus. You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You could get infected with COVID-19. The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible. Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today. The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still rising.
One of the biggest concerns when it comes to trip is safety. These days, it's not safe to go on trip due to the coronavirus. You're more likely to come into contact.
You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You could get infected.
You're more likely to come into contact. You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You could get infected with
COVID-19.
The
virus is highly contagious and new variants.
The virus is highly contagious.
The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible. Overall, there are more than The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible. Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases.
Overall, there are
more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today.
There are more than 300 million confirmed cases. 3 million confirmed cases. 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today. There are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today. The global death toll went over
The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still rising.
went over 5 million.
The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is the global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still rising.
5 million, and it is still rising.
Vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off. We will have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world. Under the current circumstances, traveling overseas has become close to impossible. Even if you do go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine upon arrival. Or you have to be fully vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID-19 before leaving the country. So, not many people are going on overseas trips yet. I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope that day comes soon.
That we can resume international traveling. I hope that day comes soon. Vaccinations are going on all around the world,
but they are concentrated in nations that are better off.
But they are concentrating.
Vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off. We will have to wait a long time until
vaccinations are going on all around the world. Vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off. But they are concentrated in nations that are better off. Vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in
vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off. We will have
nations that are better off. Vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off.
vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off. We will have to wait a long time until vaccinations are going on all around the world, but they are concentrated in nations that are better off.
Nations that are better off.
We will have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world. Under the current circumstances, we will have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world. Under the current circumstances, traveling overseas
immunity across the world. We get her immunity across the world. We'll have to wait a long time until we will have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world. We'll have to wait a long time until we get her immunity. We get her
We will have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world.
immunity
Under the
across the
current
world.
circumstances,
We'll have to wait a long time until we get her immunity. We get her immunity across. We get
we will
her
have to wait a long time until we get herd immunity across the world. Under the current
across the world.
circumstances,
We get her immunity across the world.
we will have
Under
to
the
wait a
current-
long time until we get herd immunity across the world.
Immunity
Under the
across the
current
world.
circumstances,
Under the current circumstances.
under the current circumstances,
Circumstances. Under the current circumstances. Under the current circumstances, traveling overseas has become
close to impossible.
close
Even if
to
you do go
impossible.
somewhere
Under the current circumstances,
under the current circumstances, traveling under the current circumstances,
under the current circumstances,
under the
traveling
current
overseas
circumstances,
traveling overseas
has
has
become
become
close to impossible.
has become traveling overseas has become close to impossible. Even if you to go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine upon arrival. You have to be under quarantine upon arrival.
Even if you do go somewhere overseas,
Even if you to go somewhere overseas,
even if you do go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine.
you might have to be on a,
Even if you do go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine upon arrival.
you under quarantine upon arrival. Even if you to go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine upon arrival. Even if you to go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine upon arrival.
Even if you do go somewhere overseas, you might have to be under quarantine upon arrival. Or you have to be
or you have to be
fully vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID-19
have to test negative.
Or you have to be fully vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID.
Have to test negative
Or you have to be fully vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID-19 before leaving the country.
You have to test negative for COVID-19 before leaving the country. Or you have to fully vaccinated or you have to be fully vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID-19 before leaving the country.
Or you have to be fully
fully vaccinated
and have to test negative for COVID-19 you have to be fully vaccinated and have to test negative for COVID-19 before leaving the country. So not many people
before leaving the country.
Or you have to be fully vaccinated and have to test negative for.
So not many people
are going on overseas trips yet. I hope that the coronavirus.
Not many people are going on overseas trips yet.
So not many people are going on overseas trips yet. I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can. So not many people are going. So not many people are going on overseas trips yet. I hope that the coronavirus dies out.
I hope that the coronavirus
dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope
that we can resume international traveling.
I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling.
Dies out so that we can resume international traveling.
I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling.
I hope that coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope that coronavirus dies out so we can resume international traveling. I hope that coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope that coronavirus dies out so I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope that coronavirus dies out so.
I hope that the coronavirus dies out so that we can resume international traveling. I hope that day comes.
I hope that day
comes. I hope that day comes soon.
I hope that day comes soon.
Well, it is safe to say that almost all restaurants in Korea offer delivery services. That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days. These apps have become the norm. So, ordering in has become a lot easier than in the past, especially because of COVID-19 these days. It is not safe to go out to eat at restaurants. Instead, people prefer to order delivery using these apps. Naturally, the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply ever since the coronavirus outbreak. There are tons of menus on these apps. Sometimes it is hard to choose because there are so many menus. These apps are very easy to use. People can pay for the food directly on the app. The delivery address is stored on the app. The app also tells you how long it will take, which is very useful. There are also photo reviews from other customers, which help you pick a menu item. Of course, there is one downside. Restaurants have to use disposable containers to deliver their food. So, there is a lot.
There's a lot.
Well, it is safe to say that almost all restaurants in Korea offer.
Well, it is safe to say that almost
Well, it is safe to say that almost all restaurants in Korea offer delivery services.
Well, it is safe to say that all restaurants in Korea, almost all restaurants in Korea offer delivery service. Well, it is safe to say that it is safe. Well, it is safe to say that. Well, it is safe to say that almost all restaurants in Korea offer delivery services.
Well, it is safe to say that almost all restaurants in Korea offer delivery services. That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days.
That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days. That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days.
That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days. These apps have been.
That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days. Everyone uses food delivery apps these days. These apps have become the norm.
That's because everyone uses food delivery apps these days. These apps have become the norm.
So ordering
in has become a lot easier than in the past, especially
So ordering in has become a lot easier than in the past.
Especially because of COVID-19 these days, it is not safe to go out to eat at restaurants. Especially because of COVID-19 these days, it is not safe to go out to eat at restaurants. Instead,
to eat at restaurants. It is not safe to go out to eat at. It is not safe to go out to eat at restaurants.
Especially because of COVID-19 these days, it is not safe to go out to eat at restaurants. Instead,
it's not safe to go out to eat at restaurants. To eat at. It is not safe to go out. It is not safe to go out to eat. It's not safe to go out to eat at restaurants, especially because of COVID-19 these days. It's not safe to go out to eat. It's not safe to go out to eat at restaurants.
Instead, people prefer to order delivery using these apps. People prefer to order delivery using these apps.
Order delivery using these apps.
Instead, people prefer to order delivery using these apps.
Order delivery using this app.
Instead, people prefer to order delivery using these apps.
Naturally,
the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply ever since the.
Has risen sharply.
Naturally, the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply ever.
Has risen sharply.
Naturally, the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply ever since the coronavirus outbreak.
Ever since the coronavirus outbreak, the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply. naturally,
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 the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply ever since.
has risen sharply ever
Naturally, the number of food delivery orders has risen sharply ever since the coronavirus outbreak. There are tons of menus on these apps.
There are tons of
There are
menus
tons of
on
menus on
these
these
apps.
apps. There are tons of menus on these apps.
There are tons of menus on these apps.
Sometimes it is hard to choose because there are so many menus. These apps are very easy to use.
These apps are very
People
easy
can
to
pay
use.
for the food
People can
directly
pay
on the app.
for
The
the
delivery address is stored on
food
the app.
directly on the
The
app.
app also tells you how long it will
Address
take,
is
which is very useful.
stored on the
There
app,
are also photo reviews
It's
from other
very
customers,
useful.
which help you pick a menu item.
which help you
Of course,
pick up
there is
menu
one
item.
downside.
There is one
Restaurants have to use
downside.
disposable
Restaurants have
containers to deliver their food.
have to use
So, there is a
disposable
lot more
containers
trash that
to
is
deliver
created by
their food.
containers.
There is
This is very bad for
a
the
lot more
environment.
trash that is created by containers. This is very bad for the environment.
Sometimes it is hard to choose because there are so many
because
menus.
there are so many menus.
These apps are
These
very
apps
easy
are
to
very
use.
easy to use.
People can pay for the
pay
food
for
directly on the app.
directly on
The
the
delivery
food- on
address
the
is
app.
stored on the app. The app also tells you how long it will take, which is very useful. There are also
The
photo
app
reviews
also
from other
tells you
customers,
how long
which
it
help you
take.
pick a menu
It's very
item.
useful.
Of course, there is
item.
one downside.
On downside,
Restaurants have to use
have to use
disposable containers to
disposable
deliver their
container
food.
to deliver
So, there is a lot
deliver
more
their
trash
food.
that is created by
more
containers.
trash that is
This is
created
very
by
bad for the
containers.
environment.
Very bad for the environment. Sometimes
Sometimes it is hard to choose because there are so many menus. These apps are very easy to use. These apps are very easy to use. People can pay for the food directly on the app.
People
People
can
can pay for the food directly on the app.
people can pay for the food
People can pay for the food directly on the app.
directly.
People can pay for the food directly on the app.
on the app. People can pay for the food. People can pay for the food directly on the app.
People can pay for the food directly on the app.
on the app. People can pay for the food directly on the app. The
The
delivery
delivery address is stored on the app.
on the app.
The delivery address is stored on the app.
The delivery address
The delivery address is stored.
the delivery address is
stored on the app. The delivery address is stored on the app.
stored on the app. Delivery address is
The delivery address is stored on the app.
stored. The delivery address
is stored on the app.
stored
The app also tells you how.
stored on the app. The delivery address is stored on the app.
The delivery address is stored on the app. The app-
Stored on the app. The app
The
also
The app also tells you how long it will take, which is
take,
the app also tells you how long it will take, which is very useful.
which is very useful.
There are also photo
Also
reviews
pho-
from other
photo
customers,
review
which
from
help you
other
pick a menu
customer,
item.
which help you
Of course, there is one
which help you
downside.
pick a
Restaurant-
menu item. Pick a menu item.
The app also tells you how long it will take.
The app
The app also tells you how
tells
long
you
it will
how long
take,
it
which
will
is
take,
very
which is
useful.
very useful.
There are also photo reviews.
There are also photo
There
review
are also photo reviews from other customers, which help you pick a menu item.
menu
Of
item.
course, there is one.
There are also photo reviews.
There are also photo reviews from other customers, which help you pick a menu item. Of course, there is one downside. Restaurants
There is
have.
one downside.
Of course, there is one downside.
Restaurants
Restaurants have to
Restaurants
use
have to
disposable
use-
containers to deliver their food. So, there is a lot more trash that is created by containers. Of course, there is one downside. Restaurants have to use disposable containers to deliver their food. Restaurants have to use disposable containers to deliver their food. So, there is a lot more trash that is created. Restaurants have to use disposable containers to deliver Restaurants have to use disposable containers to deliver their food. So, there is a lot more trash that is created by containers. This is very bad for the environment.
Deliver their food, so there is a lot more trash that there is a lot more trash that is created by container. This is very bad for the environment. I think vacations
I think vacations are very important.
I think vacations
I think vacations are very important in many ways. People need to get some time off for their health, relationships, and personal growth. First, vacations are crucial for people's health. People need to get some rest. If they continue to work without vacations, they can get burned out. People can take a breather and recharge during a vacation. After that, they can work more productively. Treatments. Next, vacations are important.
Yes.
I think vacations are very important in many ways. People need to get some time.
I think vacations are very important in
I think vacations are very important in many ways. People need to.
I think vacations are very important in
I think vacations are very important in many ways. People need to get some time off for their health.
In many ways. I think vacations are very important in many ways. I think vacations are very important in many ways. People need to
get some time off for their health, relationships, and personal growth.
Time off for
First,
their
vacations
health.
are. People need to get some time off for their health, relationships, and personal growth.
Time off for
First, vacations are crucial.
time off for their health. Time off for
People need to get some time off for their health, relationships, and personal growth.
And
First, vacations are
growth.
crucial for people's health.
people need to get some
People need to get
time
some
off
rest.
for their health.
If they continue,
Time off for
people
their
need to
health.
get some time off for their health,
Time off
relationships, and personal
off.
growth.
Time off for their health.
People need to get some time off for their health, relationships,
for
and
their
personal
health.
growth. People need to get some time off for their health,
for their health.
relationships, and personal growth.
personal growth.
First, vacations are crucial for people's health. People need to get some rest.
First, vacations are crucial for people's health.
First, vacations are crucial for people's health. People need to get
People need to get some
some rest. If they can
If
if they continue to work without vacations, they
if
can
they continue to work without vacations,
if they continue to work without vacations, they can get
they
burned
can
out.
get from
People can take a
they can
breather
get
and
burned
recharge.
out. If they continue to work out
If they
with
continue to work without vacations, they can get burned
without
out.
vacation. If they
If they
continue to work without vacations,
they
they
can
can
get
get
burned out.
They
People
can
can
get
take a
burned
breather
out.
and recharge
People can
during a
take a
vacation.
breather. People can take a breather and recharge during a vacation.
People can take a breather and recharge during a vacation. After
Take a breather. People can take a breather. People can take a breather and recharge during a vacation.
people can take a breather and recharge during a vacation. After that, they can work more productively. Next, vacations
more
are
productively. After that, they can work more productively.
after
After
that they
that,
can
they
work
can
more
work more
productively.
productively.
Next,
Next,
vacations are
vacations
important for
are
relationships.
important for relationship.
Next, vacations are important for relationships. People need-
Important for
Next,
vacations are
vacations are important for
important
relationships.
relationship. Vacations are important for relationship. People need to spend some quality.
People need to spend some quality time with their loved ones. Vacations are
People need to spend some quality time with their loved one.
People need to spend some quality time with their loved ones.
Quality time
Vacations
with
are the
their
best.
loved one.
People need to spend some quality time with their
Spend some quality
People
time.
need to spend some
Spend
quality time with their
some
loved
quality
ones.
time
Vacation
with their loved
People
one.
need to spend some quality time with their loved ones. Vacations are the best.
Vacations are
Vacations are the best way to do that. People can
Vacations are the best way to do that.
Vacations are the best way to do that.
To do that. Vacations are the best way to do that.
Vacations are the best way to do that.
People
can do hobbies or go on trips together.
People can do hobbies or go on trips together.
People can do hobbies or go on trips together. Plus, vacations are important for personal growth as well. People need some downtime to look back on their lives.
People need some downtime. People need some downtime to look back on their lives. Need some downtimes. People need some downtimes.
People can do hobbies or go on trips together. Plus, vacations are important for personal growth as well. People need some
personal growth as well.
Plus, vacations are important for personal growth as well. People need some downtime to look back. People need some downtime to look back on their lives. They can think about their careers and make future plans. People need some downtime to look back on their lives. They can think about their career.
They can think about their
careers and make future plans. They can also learn something new or study.
Make a future plans. They
can also learn something new or study a foreign language. In other words, they can do things related to self-improvement. Once again, I think vacations are very important for these reasons.
In other words, they can do things related to self-improvement. They can do things related to self-improvement.
They can also learn something new or study a foreign language. In other words, they can do things related to self-improvement. Once again, I think vacations are very important for these reasons.
Important for these reasons. Very important.
They can also learn something new or study a foreign language. In other words, they can do things related to self-improvement. Once again, I think vacations are very important for these reasons.
Important for these reasons. Important for these reasons.
Korean TV dramas have gained a lot of popularity in Asian markets over the years. Millions of viewers in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia have tuned into Korean TV shows. However, Korean dramas recently reached another landmark with the success of the Netflix hit TV show, Squid Game. The Netflix original series created a huge sensation, topping the Netflix playlist in 94 countries, including the United States. It is already the streaming service's most popular original program ever. In fact, it is said to have created $900 million in value for the platform. It was the most watched TV series in Netflix history, accumulating 1.65 billion hours of viewing in the first 28 days of its release. The show is about 456 people in heavy debt competing with one another in some deadly survival games. There are 6 rounds in the game, and only one, survivor, can become the winner. There are some gruesome scenes, but the storyline is very original and well made.
The original and well made and very well made.
Korean TV dramas have gained a lot of popularity in Asian markets over the years. Millions of viewers in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia have tuned into Korean TV shows. However, Korean dramas recently reached another landmark with the success of the Netflix hit TV show, Squid Game. The Netflix original series created a huge sensation, topping the Netflix playlist in 94 countries, including the United States. It is already the streaming service's most popular original program ever. In fact, it is said to have created $900 million in value for the platform. It was the most watched TV series in Netflix history, accumulating 1.65 billion hours of viewing in the first 28 days of its release. The show is about 456 people in heavy debt competing with one another in some deadly survival games. There are 6 rounds in the game, and only one survivor can become the winner. There are some gruesome scenes, but the storyline is very original and well made.
Very original and well made.
Korean TV dramas have gained a lot of popularity in Asian markets over the years. Millions of viewers in China, Japan.
Millions of viewers in China, Japan. Millions of viewers in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia have turned into Korean TV show. Have turned into Korean TV shows.
Millions of viewers in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia have tuned into Korean TV shows. However, Korean dramas
have turned into Korean TV show. Have tuned into.
Millions of viewers in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia have tuned into Korean TV shows. However, Korean dramas recently reached another landmark. With the success of Netflix. However, Korean dramas recently reached another landmark. With the success of the Netflix hit TV show, Squid Game.
The success of Netflix hit TV show Squid Game. Korean drama recently reached another landmark with the success of the Netflix hit TV show Squid Game. The Netflix original series created a huge sensation, topping the Netflix playlist in 94 countries, including the United States. Netflix original series create a huge sensation, topping the Netflix playlist. Playlist in 94 countries, including United States.
The Netflix original series created a huge sensation, topping the Netflix playlist in 94 countries, including the United States. It is already the streaming service's most popular original program ever.
It's already streaming service's most popular original program. It's already the streaming service's most popular original program ever. In fact,
it is said to have created $900 million in value for the platform. It was the most watched TV series in
value for the platform. In fact, it's said to have created $900 million in value for the platform.
In fact, it is said to have created $900 million in value for the platform. It was the most watched TV series in Netflix history.
It was the most watched TV series in Netflix history. Accumulating 1.65 billion hours of viewing in the first 28
It was the
days
most watched
of
TV
its
series
release.
in Netflix history, accumulating 1.65 billion hours of viewing in the first 28 days of its release.
First
The show is
28
about
days of
450.
of its release.
It was the most watched TV series in Netflix history, accumulating 1.65 billion hours of viewing in the first 28 days of its release. The show is about 456 people in heavy debt competing with one another in some deadly survival games. There are 6 rounds in the game, and only one survivor can become the winner. There are some gruesome scenes, but the storyline...
There are some gruesome scene, but the storyline
The
is
show is about 456 people in...
The show is about 456
The show is about 456 people in heavy debt competing with one another in some deadly survival games.
One another in some deadly survivor game. The TV show is about 456 people in heavy debt competing with one another in some deadly survival games. In deadly survival games,
the show is about 456 people in heavy debt competing with one another in some deadly survival games. There are 6 rounds in the game, and only one survivor can become the winner.
There are 6 rounds in games.
There are 6 rounds in a game, and only one survivor can become the winner. There are some gruesome scenes, but the storyline is very original and well made.